Hi everyone, Caroline here. Question for you. So you're wearing crystals, you're making crystal grids, you're sleeping with crystals under your pillow. Do you ever feel like your crystals are not working? Do you ever feel like your crystals are not responding to you, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do, or they're not speaking or talking? If you have been feeling that way, then you are definitely not alone. Man, I have got so many questions around this, so I just decided, you know what, Caroline, let me try to address this and just put out some perspectives that can reassure you that your crystals are indeed working. And sometimes it's just about understanding some of the ways in which crystals communicate with you and how even in that silence, there's always a lot of answers that need you to respond, okay? So in this video, I'm just going to share with you some perspectives so that you can get into that state of introspection to allow you to see what might be going on between you and your beloved crystal, okay? All right. Oh, wait, before I go on, I had made a video about how to feel and sense your crystal energy, and I think that might also be helpful for those who might not be feeling any kind of response to their crystals, because sometimes just understanding different ways of how things work together can really bring the full picture in place, okay? So make sure you watch that video. I'm gonna put a link to it at the end of this video. Okay, so the first thing is that crystals are spiritual tools. They're teachers of higher consciousness. The purpose for which they come into our lives is to teach us something, to help us evolve. And those who are called to work with crystals understand this. They understand that there's a relationship between you and your crystal, and that relationship is one that helps us to go deep within ourselves, to heal ourselves so we can grow and evolve. That understanding is very crucial. Otherwise, you can just be working with crystals and then days can be going by and nothing can be happening if you really don't understand what the relationship is like. It's just almost like having a relationship with a person, man. You can't just be there sitting and just expecting that your life is just going to be the daily ho-hum. There's usually some layers and layers that make the relationship between you and a live person grow and evolve, right? So that understanding always has to be there. It's the same thing. If someone's not talking to you in a relationship, right? You kind of have to sit back and figure out, why is this person not talking to me? Why is my spouse not talking to me? Why is my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, not talking to me, right? You have to figure out these things. What's wrong? What's right? And just in the same way, if you're a crystal lover and you're working with crystals and you're not getting a response or any kind of feedback from the crystal, you must really stop to think, oh my gosh, what is happening over here, right? So crystals are tools of higher consciousness. And sometimes just by looking at a crystal, you can tell a lot about what the crystal is communicating. So your ability to be observant and aware of what's going on is very key when you're interacting with these spiritual tools. For example, what does it mean when your crystal breaks? What does it mean when your crystal falls? What does it mean when your crystal gets lost? What does it mean when you can't find your crystal? When it's hot, when it's cold? What does it mean? Just those simple things of observation are usually ways in which crystals talk. So if you're not like in tune with that, then you can miss a lot when you're working with crystals, okay? So keep in mind that as a spiritual person, your interaction with these spiritual tools is not an accident. It's a message to you, okay? So from my perspective, the first reason why your crystal might not be responding to you is because crystals are mirrors. They reflect back to you what you need to see about yourself. So when your crystal is not working, in a way, it's revealing to you that something about you is not working. This is a mirror, mirror thing. Okay, mirror, mirror on the wall, So if your crystal is not speaking and you're working with this crystal seriously, think about it. What is this not speaking telling me about me? It's not so much about the crystal, it's about you. When you're working with crystals, most of the time it's never about the crystals, it's about you. So when you're feeling like your crystal is not working or responding to you, look at yourself and see, oh my gosh, in what area of my life are things not working out? In what area of my life am I not being responsive to something that I need to be responding to? Okay, in what area of my life am I not being able to speak back or talk back or hear back because the crystal is not working? So how is that about me? Turn this thing around and the answer will be right there if you have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart and feelings to go with it to really interact with the energy of what is being brought forward. Okay, so that's the first reason why your crystal may not be responding. The other reason why your crystal may appear not to be responding is that you are supposed to do something on one level with one specific crystal, but you have not done that work, and so the next crystal in line cannot do its job. So for example, if you're supposed to work with rose quartz, right, you are attracted to rose quartz, you were supposed to do some self-loving inner work for yourself, but you never really did it. So if you're expecting maybe to use mystic merlinite as the next level of crystals that you're attracted to, you might have a problem because you did not complete stage 1. So mystic merlinite cannot kick in, to take you up to those levels where you need to be, because you have not yet laid the groundwork for that. You know what I mean? So sometimes there's an order to this thing. You gotta do the inner work first on one level with one specific crystal that called out to you strongly, because it was important for you to really, really address those specific issues. So if you don't address those issues, then, you know what I mean? You cannot expect to work with Moldavite on that other level and experience good results if you have not done the clearing work that even gentler energies have been calling you to. So you might be sitting there with a crystal and saying, oh, my Moldavite is not working, or this crystal is not working, or my black tourmaline is not effective at doing what it's supposed to do. But think about it. Did you do the groundwork that was necessary for these other energies to be able to do their work effectively? You get where I'm going with this? You get it, right? I know you do. Okay. Anywho, the next reason could be that you simply don't believe that these crystals work, or that they speak, or that they can communicate with you. And basically, you're just having these crystals because you have the crystals, they're pretty and all, and you kind of hope that there's going to be some magic involved. But you really, really, really intrinsically don't believe that the crystals work. So just based on that premise alone, sometimes you will not be able to get the feedback from the crystals. And that's just how it is, because remember, crystals are a mirror. You don't believe, so of course, what do you expect, right? It's so cool how these things work, man. So if you don't believe, you don't get the results, right? Okay, so that's another reason. Then the other reason is that the crystals are waiting for you to raise your frequency up, right? Sometimes people get crystals and then they still keep dabbling in these low frequency affairs, and then they're expecting like crystals, which are high vibration tools, to kind of raise up the vibration on their behalf. It's not gonna happen. You gotta do the inner work for yourself to raise your frequency. And then when you start working with these crystals, I'm telling you, it's gonna start flashing things out of your life and help you keep raising your vibration, because on some level, you are already on that level of wanting to raise your vibration. If you wanna raise your vibration, man, then the crystals are for you. But if you want to be in some of these low vibe things, man, the crystals are just going to prove to you that, this is just what it is, because crystals are a mirror. So they match you, they show you the mirror, and then you as an evolving spiritual person has to see what's going on with these crystals and elevate your frequency, so that when you're working with these crystals that are high vibration, you can really spiral up really quickly. You know what I mean? Crystals love you and they want to help you, so you got to help yourself, because the helping of ourselves, it's not so much about these spiritual tools that help us from the external, but they lead us within ourselves so that we can really raise our frequency and evolve into remembering who we are. Crystals bring you within so you can tap into your multidimensional self and allow yourself to evolve higher. They are just simply one of the best tools. So if you're drawn to crystals, remember you're drawn to crystals to raise your frequency. So get with the program, okay? So the other reason why it may appear that your crystal is not responding or communicating with you is because it's just not the time for that specific crystal to communicate with you. And this happens sometimes because we have some crystals that we have bought over the years. And from the moment we got those crystals, we kind of have never had any kind of response from those crystals. But we remember that when we were drawn to get those crystals, because crystals call us. So you might have been called to buy a crystal early on in your journey or at some point. It doesn't matter. But the crystal called you and you were so attracted. But then when you come home with it or when you wear it, you just don't get anything. Sometimes it's because the crystal is holding information that is going to be unleashed at some future point based on certain things that you have to do in your life before you get to the point where this crystal can open up to you. And it happens a lot. And many of you know what I'm talking about. about, because you probably have some of those crystals that are just sitting around and just waiting for that opportune moment, and you've been wondering about them. But don't worry about it. Some of these crystals begin to talk after a while. Even I have some crystals that only now, after many years, only now are these crystals opening up their wisdom to me. And I'm just so glad that I kept loving them through all this time that we've been together. Sometimes it's just not the time. You know, you just don't know what's coming down the road. And maybe you just had to get that crystal at that time when you got it, because there would be no other chance for you to get that crystal down the road. You know what I mean? You never know. That crystal was there and you had to get it, because maybe, you know, with all these closures and everything, you'd never have got that specific crystal. So it had to come into your life at that time. You know what I mean? And that is why I know that nothing is an accident. Anyway, crystals sometimes don't speak because it's not the right time. Okay, then the other reason is that your crystal may not be responding because it's dirty, it's not being cleansed, or it has been abused at some point, and you need to really do some clearing work and charging work on it. You know what I mean? Because you never know the journey that some of these crystals have taken. And if you're sensitive, you can sense some of these things. You can sense the energy that comes from the crystals. Most of them are really usually good to go, but some of them have a heaviness around them. They have a sadness around them. They're not light, they're not airy, and you can sense it. Many times you can feel it. You can just feel, oh my gosh, this crystal needs a little bit more love. And the crystal might not be responding as a favor to you, because sometimes if it responds or it speaks, you know, or it radiates its energy in a tangible way, that energy that has accumulated within it can sometimes spread. So it is out of love for you, and also a plea to you to cleanse the crystal, that the crystal does not respond. So make sure you keep your crystals clean, cleanse them, charge them, put them in the sun, put them under the moonlight, run them under water. You know what I mean? Love on them, send them light, because these crystals will be good to you. They are good for you. Okay, so clean your crystals, cleanse them regularly, especially if you have quartz crystals, which really are amplifiers of energy, or if you're using black crystals that absorb toxic energy. Make sure you cleanse those crystals, because you don't want that energy that has accumulated within them, especially if it's not beneficial energy, to be within your auric field, within your body, or within your environment. Okay, so those are some of my reasons, and those are some of my perspectives around why crystals may not be responding to you, or speaking to you, or talking to you. Let me know in the comment section what your perspectives are, or what you think about what I've said, whether you agree or not, or you can even add something valuable to this conversation to help those people who might come across this video, or who might be reading the comments. All highly appreciated. And until next time, crystal lovers, listen to your crystals, because they are talking. Bye.